The seductive styling of the 2022 Mazda CX-9 elevates your idea of what a three-row CUV can be.
Get 0% financing on a new Mazda CX-9 at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda.
That would be concerning and maybe set a precedent moving forward.
If you had plans to be outside, you might hit a couple of these little passing showers.
A drug bust and a few arrests made. Look at what they hauled in here.
It still feels like Christmas.
It does sound like Christmas.
I love it. It's in a better mood.
Christmas in April.
Feels
like Christmas. No, it doesn't feel like Christmas. So welcome to the Plus, everybody. WAFB Plus at 9 News Now. A new start time for those, of course, who've been paying attention. Used to do that 9:15 thing. Same kind of show, just at 7 o'clock now. So just a continuation of the big show on the mothership at WAFB. As always, kind of the same kind of things that you want. And you really, of course, want that forecast and that drive. It's a warm one today.
All about making the show better. So we have to include the family. We're going to check in with Johnny to talk about the traffic. But first, let's talk with Dr. Steve about some rain moving in our way. Good morning, Dr. Steve.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, gearing up for better rain chances on the way, especially later on today. Right now, dry in Baton Rouge, and we can even see the sun trying to peek through the clouds as we look off to the east. That's our Sky 9 camera brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake. Still very muggy outside this morning, low to mid 70s for most of us. Baton Rouge kind of holding steady at 75, Gonzales 74. But notice out to our west, Lake Charles 68 before Polk, now down to 59. There's some cooler air spilling south and east in association with a cold front. Now here's what we've got in our first alert radar network. A few showers lifting up to the north. Nothing in around Baton Rouge right now. A little bit of rain as you head up 61 north of St. Francisville. Some rain up here in Wilkinson County, Mississippi. So not much locally yet, but rain chances will increase as the day progresses. Much different story out to our west and northwest. Been heavy rain overnight from parts of East Texas into northeast, northwest Louisiana. Still a flash flood warning here just south of Shreveport, as that band of showers and storms only moves slowly to the southeast. Now locally, I've got rain chances around 20%, 9 o'clock this morning, 40% at noon, 50% 3 o'clock, but up to 70% by 6 o'clock this evening, and temperatures into the low 80s before the rains arrive. Let's give you a look at future radar as we advance this, showing scattered showers and storms. Now I'll show you this with the caveat, the models are having a tough time. Run to run, we're being big swings and seeing big swings and where the rains develop and the timing. But at noon, I've got scattered showers and a few storms, not too far off of what future radar shows. It's got some of the scattered storms at 3 o'clock, and then late this afternoon into this evening has some increasing. That's 6 o'clock tonight on into tonight at 9 o'clock. You see those rains kind of continuing to develop. Now here's a look at the updated rainfall outlook from the Weather Prediction Center. They have bumped the amounts up, showing on average 2 to 3, maybe 2 to 4 inches of rain. Could be locally higher in spots. We'll keep an eye on that. Rain amounts should be manageable for most, but could be heavy at times. Now, the Storm Prediction Center right now has a level 1 out of 5 marginal risk of severe weather largely across South Texas. We'll get an update from the Storm Prediction Center here within the hour. I wouldn't be surprised to see that expanded. I think there is kind of a sneaky severe weather threat locally today. I wouldn't rule out a few strong storms this afternoon, this evening. Hail and isolated tornadoes, I think, are possible. Stay weather aware. So off and on rains later today, tonight, tomorrow, into the first part of Saturday. Drier by Saturday afternoon, and Easter Sunday doesn't look bad. Starts out around 60, a high of 73 with just a slim chance of a shower. Next week looks to be a drier pattern and gradually warming back up. 7:06 now with a check on the roads. Here's Johnny Asian.
It's kind of starting to get a little busy. Thank you for staying with us here on the Plus. We're starting to see a little traffic coming out of Denham from right around Jubin to right around Range Avenue, and that past Range into East Baton Rouge Parish. Slowest traffic is going to be right there crossing the Amite River Bridge as you make your way into the East Baton Rouge Parish area, and then a little slow traffic right here at the 1012 merge and coming in from the west on 10 eastbound, looking good. But we do have a little traffic right here as you approach the on-ramp right there on the bridge, intercoastal overpass. So let's take a look. Here's I-12 at O'Neill facing back toward the Amite River Bridge. Traffic slow once you make it past that, and there's that little bit of traffic on the slope of the ramp coming off of LA1 into Baton Rouge, crossing a very hazy bridge this morning. Couple of things to note. Speaking of the haze, visibility has shut down temporarily both of the Plaquemine Sunshine Ferry boats. And for folks traveling on the CATS bus systems, tomorrow, Good Friday, April 7th, we will have a schedule change. They will be operating a Saturday schedule on Good Friday tomorrow. Not a big deal, but it is worth noting because some of those stop times might be a little bit different. 7 minutes after 7 o'clock, and we toss it back to Matt and Liz for today's headlines.
Johnny, thanks for the reminder. This is a holiday weekend. Good Friday scheduled tomorrow.
So when we talk about kind of getting towards all that and getting to today, it's going to be a heavy day today in Baton Rouge. When we talk about saying final goodbyes, paying final respects to 2 peace officers who died in the line of duty.
Yeah, obviously, Sergeant David Poirier and Corporal Scotty Canizero will be finally laid to rest in a joint memorial service. Let's bring up those details for you, full on screen here. So, obviously, last week we showed you and brought you their processional route as they made their way to the funeral homes. But today, at 11 o'clock, will be their joint memorial service there at Estruma Baptist Church. Before that, though, visitation is going to start at 9 a.m.
And it seemed very, very important to all involved to make sure that this was together. This is how they died, in service to community together. And it seemed very important to brothers and sisters in blue and family to make sure that they continued this together. Also to make it perhaps easier for the community to come out and pay their respects in one place. You got to know this is going to be a very powerful morning for a lot of folks as they begin to say those goodbyes.
To speak to that, there's strength in numbers, right?
You're right.
So when you talk about something as awful as this, a period of mourning, when you're able to do it together, one agency with brothers and sisters in multiple agencies around or South Louisiana, it's an opportunity to do that today. So if you'd like to join them, you'd like to be there, you can make your way out to Estruma Baptist Church there at 9 a.m. Again, that's when visitation opens. We're actually going to have live coverage for folks who have to work today, who can't make it out, folks who have to go to school. Our coverage will start at 11 a.m. on WBXH and here on WAFB+.
Trying to make it easy, just finding ways so that you can do this in your own way.
Yeah.
Exactly right. 11 o'clock right here. Okay, from that to something we want to make sure that you put your eyes on here. A missing persons alert, a silver alert issued by state police the overnight hours. Actually this morning, not missing from specifically our immediate area, but he could be here, and that's the idea, to get the eyes out.
And that's why we're letting you know about this man, Mr. Louis Benjamin. So let's get you a closer look of his picture. State police sharing this around 2 a.m., asking you to keep an eye out here. Around 2 a.m. they shared this and said that he's been missing from the Gretna area. And as Matt mentioned, obviously that is not the WAFB viewing area, but because they're associating him and this maroon truck you're seeing here, they're saying he could be anywhere. So if you see this maroon 1997 Toyota truck, it's got the license plate that starts with X, please keep your eye out for him. They'd like to track him down. They say he has a medical issue that could impair his judgment here. So please keep an eye out for this truck and this man.
Easy phone call to 911. That's, like you said, that's the one that they're hoping you can pick up and dial. Let's get him back home. From that to a story that, you know what, I think a lot of folks were beginning to get ready for the parade and the big celebration going on at LSU, right? And they kind of all eyes on that. And then this began to happen in Baton Rouge as well. A standoff kind of along Sherwood Forest Boulevard, just north of Florida, if you know that part of the world. Ended in a shooting. And I know a lot of you got the phone alert saying this was happening. A standoff on Sherwood Forest Boulevard, a heavily traveled part of the world. Many families live in that part of the world. But the update is the suspect involved in the situation in critical condition. So obviously this is that standoff that unfolded. That suspect being 27-year-old Cameron Shorter came out of his vehicle about 3 hours with a gun, and the Baton Rouge Police Department, their special response team, fired at that suspect there, Mr. Shorter, injuring him. So now he's in critical condition, awaiting to find out what happens next, also with some charges too. This was obviously, when you have something like that going on, it is that immediate area, just you have a lot of businesses that just kind of go into lockdown mode for safety precautions. Thankfully, nothing else was impacted by this negatively, truly. But yeah, the suspect taken to the hospital, as you mentioned, in critical condition. As to fully what was going on, the investigation continuing.
We're also following this too.
Oh my gosh.
Another day to collect donations here. We reminded you about this yesterday, but the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office and Volunteer Ascension, they're collecting supplies over at Barn 7 at Lamar Dixon Expo Center. They're collecting non-perishable food items, think canned goods, baby formula, phone chargers, blankets. Please, if you have any of these items or if you're making a grocery store run today, go ahead and do that. Make your way to Barn 7 there, Lamar Dixon, so they can bring these supplies, but you have a deadline. Today's the last day.
Today's the last day to make sure you actually get out there and are part of that. Here's the thing, it ain't just there. This is everywhere. This is more storm activity. This is pre-dawn Missouri. Tornado striking again. We were just talking about it earlier this morning. We're talking about tornadoes, and we have to be very specific right now about where we're talking about. It's literally like a dozen states over the past few weeks dealing with tornadoes, and here we go again.
The heartland really being impacted. Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, the latest overnight. 5 people dead in Missouri after that tornado moving through. And so when you see videos like this, it's scary to think about the aftermath. It's scary to think about how many people are still injured. As authorities make their way, now that the sunlight has come up, how many more people they're going to find.
Helping as much as we can, which is why we were talking about that previously, sending help to the north in the Mississippi. Speaking of help, there's a great way you can help one of the local hospitals in our part of the world, our Children's Hospital. We continue to drive the future right now. You could win one of these brand new Lexus vehicles, $50 ticket, Liz.
You can get your tickets online, ololchildrens.org. Remember that $50 raffle ticket, making sure you have an entry in to win one of those beautiful vehicles, but also that money goes right to the Children's Hospital.
We are continuing to celebrate, of course, LSU women's basketball, the national title, all the celebrations yesterday. I mean, is that dance ever going to stop? I don't think so. So if you're looking for ways to celebrate, want to hear more interviews and what was going on, it's all right here waiting for you, WAFB.com and the 9 News app. But here's the thing. This is not the only purple and gold we're talking about right now, because there's some stuff going on today, in fact.
Baseball.
Right here.
Happening in our part of the world. They are away for a weekend series there in Columbia, South Carolina. Everything kicks off tonight at 6 o'clock, and that's Central Time. Obviously, if you can't fly over to South Carolina, you sure can watch it.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's probably a good thing it's not in Baton Rouge. Dr. Steve, as we talk with you again, we got that rain coming in. And in fact, softball's already changed their first pitch time because of the rain. So it's probably a good thing it's in Columbia, minus the fact that you're in their home turf.
Well,
yeah, no doubt about it. So I think softball, Beth Arena made the right call today, even though we could still have some scattered rains around at noon, but better than 5 o'clock this evening. Now over in South Carolina, probably okay tonight, but rain, some of that same stuff hitting us could be an issue Friday, Saturday. We'll see how that plays out. And Columbia, South Carolina, only an hour or so away from Augusta, Georgia. The Masters going to be dodging some of that rain too this weekend. Could be a mess all over the South.
And now
we're keeping our eyes on all of it. Oh.
All right, tell you what, we'll see you again on the Mothership, WAFB at 7:25.